being extraordinarily honest about who we are, where we're at, and what we are doing to hold our own selves back, regardless of what is happening in the world, regardless of what propaganda is out there, regardless of anything. That's the next frontier. Welcome to the QBC podcast, where we explore exciting new paradigms that have a meaningful impact on our day-to-day lives. I'm your host, Meredith Oak. Let's keep the conversation going. Join us in our free community by visiting qbcpod.com. That's qbcpod.com. And let's see where the quantum superhighway takes us next. Hey, welcome to the QBC podcast. Today, we are here with me, your host, Meredith Oak. How are you? Listen, I have a fun update, and I'm going to walk you through the process. I talked a couple weeks ago about how we got deleted without warning off of YouTube, which means people were in the middle of watching videos and they disappeared. The whole channel disappeared. If you search for Quantum Biology Collective, it was no longer there. I couldn't log in. It's like my back end disappeared. The dashboard disappeared. And I got an email telling me that they never do that. They would never delete someone without warning. If you get deleted, it's because of multiple violations, except when we do delete people without warning. Like, do you hear the gaslighting in here? I'm like, you never do this except when you do. Got it? In which case, it's because you have had such an egregious policy violation. We had no choice but to just take you down immediately. So here's the list, and go check what you did wrong. So you read the list, and it's like really bad stuff. Scamming people, explicit content, hate speech. And it's like, okay, well, I didn't do that. And then you're sort of locked in this loop of filling out paperwork and no one ever responds. And it's just like a brick wall, and you're just sort of locked out of the process without any explanation at all. Anyway, long story short, few weeks after we got deleted, which, by the way, happened right in the middle of a very intense period of coverage of the revised recommendations of the vaccine schedule that were happening in the United States. So there was intense propaganda happening in the media around health, to the point where I was like, what is this, 2021? Like, it was really, really, it was reminiscent of peak mRNA hysteria. And it was right in the middle of that our channel got deleted, along with lots of others. We're not special. So, okay. Then a few weeks after that, YouTube put out a statement saying that they admitted to censoring people during COVID. They admitted to taking channels down due to political pressure. And in hindsight, they think maybe that wasn't what they want to be about. They want to be more about free speech and not censoring people for misinformation, which is really just information that wasn't aligned with the political narrative at the time. So there was a lot of press around that, especially on the platform Twitter/X. And I got some very good guidance to leave comments under all of the posts that were gaining traction, that YouTube was saying they're not censoring anymore. And I would leave a little comment and tag YouTube saying, okay, that's great. So can I have my channel back? Because it just got deleted. And to their credit, they DM'd me on there and gave me some paperwork to fill out. And even though they never gave me any real explanation beyond your account was compromised. So their story is I got hijacked, or someone took it over and did bad things, which we're in there every day. It was not compromised. But anyway, I'm like, okay, whatever. I will just follow all your steps and be very respectful and polite of your process. And at the end of it, the channel was reinstated. So there you go. We're back on YouTube. I will continue to post these episodes on there, but I will also be more focused on other places like Rumble and Spotify video as well, because this is the big tech game. So, we're all playing it. We're all on at least one of the big tech platforms by necessity, which is fine. It does offer a lot of value in terms of connecting us with people who appreciate our message. I am on YouTube all the time on my private account. I'm continuously finding new voices and new information that I find really fun and exciting. So there is a huge, huge upside to it. But we do have to acknowledge that all of the big tech platforms are, to some extent, to a large extent, compromised, right? The big tech platforms are all compromised. So, as independent sovereign voices, it is important that we are connected to the communities and people that we care about outside of the big tech platforms. So, please make sure that you are on people's email lists, you're inside of their private communities, uh, because you just never know when the plug could get pulled, whether it's on purpose, whether it was an AI mistake. I don't know. But these things can happen. And I'm going to sort of take this to another layer, right? So we are all on these big tech platforms, and they have become part of the media apparatus. The media apparatus has become part of the political apparatus. The medical systems around the world have become part of the political apparatus. So there is this somewhat regional, somewhat globalized, centralized messaging system that designs and controls narratives with the goal of manipulating the information that we get and, to be honest, manipulating our energy states. And it's just kind of such a fun time because, on the one hand, big tech is a huge piece of that apparatus. On the other hand, I'm here using it to say whatever I feel like. And so are many other people. So some of it is totally controlled, but there's still pieces that aren't. And this can cause some energetic tension. And even though it's uncomfortable and there's maybe a little cognitive dissonance with all of these different messages coming from all of these different places, at least we're not under a completely opaque propaganda system, which we were before the advent of all of this technology. And from a sort of multidimensional perspective, the media system kind of creates a canopy over our 3D reality, which we could think of as like a 4D control system. And I think that, okay, here's where I'm at. I feel like that canopy was always meant to be there, but it was meant to be more of a membrane. It was meant to be more permeable. So we could exchange energy with higher dimensions and lower dimensions, which are not bad. They're just the elemental dimensions. To keep our experience in this incarnated reality at a certain level. Then the control systems started to play with that and make the 3D canopy opaque, more opaque. So we feel like we are under this control umbrella. On the other hand, we also have access to our own divine sovereignty, our own connection with our higher minds. We also have access to lots of other people who operate from there as well. So it can feel a little bit like we're the pinball in the pinball machine, getting thrown around in all these different directions, but always hitting some kind of ceiling. And the design of it is meant to cause us to feel that there's nothing we can do about that. So even if we are saying what we want and doing what we want, we still feel somewhat limited in our ability to live with total freedom in 3D reality. And part of that limitation is the belief that we have to wait for that structure to change, which means we are somewhat at the mercy of something outside of ourselves in order to feel that we're experiencing total freedom. Okay? Stay with me, please. I'm working through this, and I want to share it with you because honestly, I think this is just what we're here for, is to take everything one step at a time and be like, okay, where are we and what's going on? And part of that is looking at world events. It's been pretty intense the last couple of months. Oh, it's been intense for a while, right? So it's really important that we are able to find ways to process what's going on that are empowering to us. So this is what I am offering you here today on this solo cast, is a framework that may line up with what you already think, may be new, may sound stupid, and you throw it out, but it's my offer. So we are supposed to be underneath this control system that the forces, I don't know, I don't like to give them a name, but whatever they are, right? Like that's where they want us to be, to feel controlled and manipulated, which is a choice. However, when it is the propaganda and the manipulation is so clear and so intense, it's not just like, oh, I'm going to rise above it. It's like, it feels personal. So a way that I have recently come to think of it so that I can step out of that feeling of manipulation is, it's not that that manipulation is blocking me or controlling me in any way. It's totally related to my own state of coherence. So when I am in a dissonant state, the manipulation lands. It might feel like a command, whereas when I'm in a coherent state, it might roll off my back. It might land in a way that makes me feel totally hopeless, which puts me into a further dissonance, which increases the opacity of the canopy. So when we are harmonized, when we have a coherent awareness, the manipulation collapses. Control cannot hold resonance. Control systems are by nature short-term and limited and totally dissipate when confronted with a coherent structure. I think part of the reason that quantum physics has been so badly taught to over the last 100 years and is still so misunderstood or not as clearly defined and clearly explained as it could be, because I think quantum physics holds a key for us to envision ourselves and the universe from an energetic level. And when we do that, we naturally move towards coherence. It's quantum physics, I think, is like a multidimensional science, whereas Newtonian physics is like a 3D science. I've been reading about that lately and it really resonated. I'd love to know what you guys think. Now, the flip side of that is that the quantum physics led to a lot of really cool stuff and a lot of really bad stuff because we really isolated it. And that's why I think on a really, really going to a really, really high spiritual level, quantum biology evolved to bring quantum physics back into nature, back into our bodies, back into life, so that it could be a science of life and not a science of computers and bombs. And so I think studying quantum biology, even just a little bit, I talked about it as a stabilizing framework, and I really am seeing that to be more and more true. Studying quantum biology brings us into coherence. When we're in coherence, we're very hard to control. And not because we're resisting, because the control just dissipates. It can't get in. because it's the wrong frequency. It's a dissonant structure, right? If you imagine when you're moving your house and the movers are getting a piece of really heavy furniture up the stairs, it's like they can do that for like one flight, but at control mechanisms that are trying to do that to us, it's that kind of force all the time. Like they're trying to push a really heavy piece of furniture up the stairs, and it just by nature can't last. They can't do that long term. So the more that we move into coherence, the faster they get tired and have to set it down. The harder, the heavier that furniture gets that they're trying to push, and the freer we are from the manipulation. So we move into coherence in order to collectively move into sovereignty, to collectively free ourselves from the control umbrella and have this really high level view of the world, and a view that is total freedom, a view where we are not susceptible to waveform intrusion from ill-intended forces. Like it just can't get in. It's almost like have you noticed that when you're in coherence, there's certain people who don't even notice you? It's like you're not there because it's like you're living in different dimensions simultaneously. So the more that we're in coherence, the more we can become multidimensional. And then we can drop back into our lives in 3D, into like the fire of our lives, into our own inner work. And instead of pushing back against outside forces intended, trying to manipulate us, trying to keep us in fear, because that's when they can, phase shift us into a state that they can control. If we're dropped into our lives from a state of sovereignty, from there, we take action. From there, we make the changes. And I think we're at a moment in time right now where it's really important that we maintain the coherence, but to what end? For what purpose? So we're in coherence because we live according to cycles of light and darkness. We are eating real food. We are drinking water. We are moving our bodies. We are aware of our place in the universe and time and space. We're breathing. I sometimes forget to breathe when I talk a lot. We're breathing. We're awake. And then what? Why? And I think life has that answer. Our lives have the answer. So we step from the high level diaphanous view, drop down into the fire of our life, the bonfire, the warm, cozy, life-giving, infrared-filled, beautiful bonfire that's inviting us to grow and change. Because at a certain point, we can become unmanipulatable by external forces. I'm a sovereign being. New York Times has no power over me. However, the next step is to continue inner growth, because our coherence is not an outside job. It's an inside job. And if we don't tend to the fire of our lives in a really deep way, we will inevitably, in some way, get sucked back into dissonance. And that can look like going down a conspiracy theory spiral, right? Like I'm not saying there's not a lot of conspiracy theories that are probably true. There are. But to spiral into that takes us into dissonance. Even if we got there by becoming sovereign and immune to other people's messages, if we don't become aligned with the needs of our own inner growth, we are still vulnerable to spiraling out of coherence on a regular basis. I mean, we all will from time to time. Like, there's no getting around that. But we are vulnerable to spiraling out the other way. Conspiracy theories, purity spirals, obsessed with doing everything perfectly and shunning people who don't, and following gurus and mentors who talk about how bad and wrong everyone else is and how stupid everyone else is. And there's only this way to do it. And if you're not doing it this way, you're an idiot, right? Like, that is dissonance. And you think like, oh no, I'm being sovereign. This is all like anti-mainstream stuff. Doesn't matter. If you're in dissonance, you're vulnerable. Perfectionism. I see people holding back because they want their work to be perfect before they do anything with it. They want to know that they're going to succeed with every single thing they do before they even try. That's tough. Hiding from ourselves, hiding from others. We get to the point where we are, just objectively ready to go out and do something, but the next step requires us to be seen. And it's scary. So we come up with a reason why actually, no, we're not quite ready. I got to learn this one more thing. I got to take this one more class. I gotta. That's another way that we can spiral out of coherence. Handing our power over. I was talking about like really sort of aggressive gurus and mentors that can make you think, can make you feel like you're always one step behind. If you're feeling like that, if someone is consistently making you feel like that, like, stop listening to them. Don't do it. You're good. And even if they're not, even if it's just like, oh, I have to listen to 8,000 podcasts to find out what to think or feel or do. No, you don't. Listen to a couple and then listen to yourself. Go inside. What is life asking you to do right now? What's the tough conversation you've been putting off? What's the tough action you need to take that you haven't taken? Might just be, balancing your checkbook, balancing your budget. Might be something bigger than that. But there's always something. And the guidance that I've been getting lately, and it's funny because I've seen this theme popping up from a lot of other people as well. So it must be an important theme, right? Is that this inner work, some people might call it shadow work, call it whatever you want, but really it's just being extraordinarily honest about who we are, where we're at, and what we are doing to hold our own selves back, regardless of what is happening in the world, regardless of what propaganda is out there, regardless of anything. That's the next frontier. And I know all of you are really committed to this, and you're probably like, yeah, I know. But I like reminders. I like a reminder that this small, hard thing that I've been putting off, this very solo cast being one of them, you're listening to me right now do the thing I didn't want to do. That is contributing to our collective sovereignty. That is contributing to our collective coherence. That is contributing to our inability to be controlled, no matter what happens with AI and all of the crazy stuff that's going on. Every single time we take a step or make a decision or do the thing we know we need to do to grow, we strengthen the collective coherence. And it's not about taking down the bad guys. It's our inner work, our inner coherence. That is what will bring us the most long-term stability, personally and collectively. And the beauty of it is that every single choice that we've made to be where we are now, to become healthy, to tend to our biology, to tend to our spirituality, to tend to our relationships, to tend to our work, to be open to growth, to be open to, you know, doing things that we're like, yuck, right? Like I see a lot of really, really talented coaches and practitioners sabotaging their businesses because sales gives them the ick. Find a way to frame it so that it feels okay. Find a way to move forward so you're putting your best and most important value out into the world because we need it. You know, it's like I'm holding on to our power and holding on to knowing who we are. Social media, while introducing us to all kinds of amazing people, can also make us feel like a commodity, right? Like you go onto Instagram and everyone has these beautiful posts talking about all the gorgeous stuff that you want to be talking about. And it's like, who am I? Just a drop in the bucket. What does my work matter? Everyone else is doing it already and they're doing it better than me. Shut up. No. Go drive to the mall and see how many people know about any of the things that you know about. Have a chat the next time you're at pickup at your child's school or, at a community event. Anything that you're doing on a regular basis that's reinforcing a dissonant structure, which, why should I bother? Everyone else is already doing it. That's dissonance. And it's not true. There are so many people who need what you have to offer. There are people walking around who think that there's nothing they can do. I just learned of the new health condition. I was listening to an interview with a young woman, and it's premenstrual dysphoric disorder. Okay. Which is just another diagnosis for another cluster of symptoms that doctors don't know what to do with. And it happens to fall at a certain time of the month. So they're calling it that. And it includes suicidal ideation, right? We're talking about women whose periods are so bad they want to kill themselves. And they think this woman truly thought there was nothing she could do because the doctors didn't have an answer. They said hysterectomy, or there was some other option that was like really extreme and not going to be that helpful. And she's like, so I just have to live with this till they do more research. What? There is a woman like that in your town. There is a woman like that or a man like that in your church or on your sports team or whatever it is. There are people out there who are so deep under the canopy. Their control umbrella is so opaque. They don't even know there's an option besides the doctor for a chronic health issue that is not in crisis mode. So the doctor doesn't know what to do with it. They don't even know. And that is not unusual. So please don't waste your time feeling like you don't have something to offer. The world is filled with those people. And every time we make a connection or we take a step forward or we strengthen ourselves, it could be something like paying someone to train you on how to sell on the internet. I don't know. Like, it doesn't have to be a spiritual thing, right? It just has to be something that needs to happen in order for you to move forward and make your contribution, because we need it. Your voice matters. We cannot lose this. We cannot. And if we don't stop once in a while and listen to people like me ramble on, then we might get too deep in our own heads and just think ourselves out of our coherence and into the dissonance. And once we're dissonant, we can be infiltrated, I'll say, right? So we got to think of it as like a phase shift. We got to phase shift into coherence as much as possible. We got to be able to transcend into being above the canopy so that we can receive the energy and the wisdom of the higher realms, of our higher selves, of our higher mind, of God. We can drop down. We can get the energy from the lower dimensions, the elementals, the earth, and then focus on the fire of our lives and walk through that fire. It will not burn you. Get the support you need. Get the guidance you need. You know what it is. I don't know what it is. But we walk through that fire. We come out stronger. We can hold out our hand to that young woman suffering with premenstrual dysphoric disorder who thinks she might have to get a hysterectomy in order to escape the symptoms. This is what we're here for. And it's fun. It's fun, right? All right. Let me know what this cooked up for you, okay? Shoot me a message. hello@quantumbiologycollective.org is the email. Go to bondcharge.com and get your blue blockers if you don't have them, for goodness sake. Throw them on your eyes. Try wearing some patches, truly. These have been next level for me. I'm on year 2, and I keep finding new ways to use them. I think these are multidimensional technologies, to be honest. And stay coherent most of the time. If you need help, come into the QBC pod community and say hi. If you are that young woman, come and find a practitioner. That is the best place to go. Go to QBC pod, click community, go in there and be like, this is what's going on for me. Who has experience with this? Who can refer me to somebody? There is always a next step. Whether you're stuck in your business or stuck with your health or stuck with whatever it is, there was always a next step. Always. Be well. Talk to you soon. Bye.
This has been the Quantum Biology Collective podcast. To find a practitioner who practices from this point of view, visit our directory at quantumbiologycollective.org. If you are a practitioner, definitely take a look at the Applied Quantum Biology Certification, a 6-week study of the science of the new human health paradigm and its practical application with your patients and clients. We also love to feature graduates of the program on this very podcast. Until next time, the QBC.